Hello. Hi, friends. We are back at it again for another episode. Thank you for coming back. I hope you are doing good and well and okay. I have a new friend that Denice. Did I say that right, Denice?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't want to pronounce it wrong.
It's Denice, yeah.
Hi, Denice.
Hi.
So funny story how we met. I went to her job, and that was probably the last time that I was blacked the fuck out drunk. But the last thing that I remembered was that I asked her
you
to
left
be
your
on
phone?
my podcast.
Well, you don't remember that part.
And I left my phone. That was the last thing. You know what's funny is I remember leaving it on top of a thing in the bathroom.
No, I actually found it
Where
in
was it?
between some cushions. You know where the fire table is?
Yep.
Right there. And I had a feeling it was yours too.
There's pictures of that angle in my phone, like where the fire pit is at.
Yeah. I had a strong feeling it was yours. You know what though? Because I remember I served you. I think I served you your last beer, and you were giggly and like laughing, but we like. You said the sentence, and we still talked. Like you weren't like slurring or anything. I don't know how I would have. Gosh, I wouldn't want to cut you off, but
no, I mean I'm so like functional. Okay. People don't even know I'm like fucking off my ass at that point.
Yeah, no, but yeah, you were just really giggly, and I was just like, all right, maybe that's probably gonna be her last one. But I think that one probably just put you over the edge, and yeah. I don't usually overserve people, just for the record.
No, she was a very responsible beer tender. So I was grateful that you were still down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like fuck yeah, and
yeah, that's not gonna come in between us.
Never. Well, cheer. Oh, actually, ever since then, I did decide to stop drinking.
Oh, okay.
So I got
good
this.
for you.
Thank you.
All right, very nice.
Non-alcoholic brew dog. Grapefruit IPA, which I found and is bomb as fuck, actually.
You know what? NAs are not bad. The only thing here, cheers. Hey.
Hello.
Let me sip real quick. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it just feels like it's missing like substance. Like that one thing that binds everything that makes it what it is, which would be like, beer or an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
It's just missing that, but the flavor is still there. The taste is there. So
yeah,
nothing wrong with it.
Like I'm drinking beer
there you
with
go.
Other peeps, But yeah, no, I just realized that I don't know how to stop. And before I know it, I've chugged 3 high percentage beers, as you can tell. And then boom, they all hit me at once and I'm gone.
Yeah.
But no.
All right.
Thank you. So where are you from?
I'm from Van Nuys. I love Van Nuys so much. I don't know why. That's
born
my city. I was actually born at this hospital right here in Mission Hills, Holy Cross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and my mom lived in Arleta until I was a year. Then we moved to Palmdale, and then I was like 6 when we moved. And we actually moved to the plan was to move to El Salvador, and then we ended up getting robbed. So
before the move?
No, when we got to El Salvador. Yeah. So my mom's from El Salvador. My dad is from Honduras. And it was me, my mom, my grandma, and my little sister. She's 5 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. We went by plane. And my dad, he was like doing like a caravana with other people.
Yeah.
So he went by land. And yeah, when we got there, this was like, post-war. So things are really bad. And había mucho ladronismo. And in the airport, people, like the employees that work there, they would go through your stuff and le avisaban, like people on the outside, like if you had stuff like worth robbing, and so that's basically what happened. We got this taxi, and back then it's not like it was a yellow car that says taxi on it. It's whoever said they were taxi.
Spray painted taxi.
Yeah, but not even that, It's basically you just kind of have to trust these people. Yeah. And by the time when they dropped us off at my mom's friend's house where we were gonna stay at first, they they robbed us, and they hit my grandma in the back of the head with a revolver, and they ended up cracking her head open, so my grandma got stitches.
Oh my god.
And it sucked.
How old were you when all that happened?
I was I think 7.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was 7. My little sister was 2. And they were asking her for her purse, and she didn't want to give up her purse because she had some money, her savings in there.
Yeah.
And we were gonna move. So
then after that, what?
So, and then my uncles. Okay, so my uncles, my dad's brothers, they were in Honduras at the time, so they drove from Honduras because they're neighbors. The countries are neighbors.
Mm.
So they came and they picked us up, and then we ended up staying at one of my aunt's house. And we were there for a little bit, and then we got our own apartment in this place called Loma del Quijarro, and it was a very nice area. It was like the studio city of Tegucigalpa. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I went to a school out there called Del Campo International Schools, and I have really good memories of Honduras as a kid. It was still a very interesting time for the country because the crime that they were committing at the time was they were stealing kids, they were yanking kids right out of the mom's hands.
Oh my god.
And it was for organs and body parts for black market and stuff like that.
Dude,
yeah,
this is fucking insane.
Yeah, no, and it was a lot of even the air felt weird. It was something you just had to be very precautious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Holy
but
shit.
I was there. I went to school there for about 6 months, and then I came back, and then I was in Van Nuys ever since. But when I lived in Palmdale, my aunt always lived in Van Nuys, so we would always come out once a week and hang out with them. So I don't know, maybe that's why I'm so attached. Yeah, I even thought I'm damn, I would want to get my city tatted, but then I don't want people to think I'm from BVN or anything, Yeah, because I'm not. So just to clarify that. But yeah, no, it's the heart of the valley.
So, are you close with your family since you guys been through a lot together?
So my parents have been divorced. Oh, so okay, so it's, to answer your question and just to pair it with my story, the reason we moved to El Salvador was because my dad's drinking had gotten worse. The worst it's ever been. He wasn't always a drunk or an alcoholic, but when his brothers came down from Honduras, when I was 1 or 2, that's when his drinking got worse and he became very irresponsible. And then my mom was having to put in more work, to pay the mortgage and whatnot. So that's when she decided that she didn't want to be with him anymore. Because also he started to get a little violent, throwing stuff. He never put hands on her directly, but she's I don't like how this feels. And so she was we're going to move to El Salvador to create a separation. But it didn't really happen that way, but it happened anyway. So like I said, we went to El Salvador, got robbed. 3 weeks later, we went to Honduras. We were there for 6 months, and then we came back to Van Nuys, and that was I'm totally gonna age myself right now, but that was back in '93.
All right.
Yeah, I'm an older broad. So what? And then the '94 earthquake, which you probably weren't even born for that. No,
I came here the next year.
Yeah, you're a baby.
Just a baby. But my sister was around for that, and my parents tell me the crazy ass story of what it was like. I mean, the pictures are fucking
Where did they live for that?
I think Chatsworth.
Oh, so they felt it very, very well.
There.
Yeah. Because even me and Van Nuys, we felt it strong. It shooked us.
Yeah.
So,
How long did it last? Do you remember?
It was. I don't remember. I'm gonna say it was maybe a week or several days of it shaking, but
really,
yeah,
just little aftershocks and shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember we were sleeping in our sleeping bags in the little hallway next to the front door in case we had to run out, and that was just a few days. So it wasn't weeks. It was about a week, maybe less than a week, from what I remember. But so that situation with the earthquake, and we had came back from Honduras, that's actually when my dad decided to try to put hands on my mom for the first time ever. And then she kicked him out. He left, and he never came back. So that was like the
Huh.
beginning of the separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because he didn't stop drinking. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about contact with you? Has he tried?
Oh yeah, I
Oh.
see him all the time. My dad has always been an excellent provider, and he's a very nice man. Anyone that meets him, both of my parents are very nice people. Um, I'm not sure how I came out this way, but and it's not that I'm not nice. Like I'd rather be nice, but it's like it just depends on you. You know how you come at me, like what you're trying to do, like what you're up to. But no, I'd rather be nice. But no, my mom's very sweet. My dad's very gentle demeanor.
Gentle is probably the word. I get that because my mom is also very calm and gentle, and I'm just fucking out here wild as
all over the
fuck.
place. Yeah,
Bro. And she's like, "What happened to you?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I feel each person, like, we're just born with, like, our personality or our character and who we're meant to be. But I also believe that we are a product of not just our environment, but like who raised us.
Mhm.
But, if you have two gentle parents and you're not as gentle as they are, it's who you are to not be so gentle or calm or whatever,
Yeah.
But
Do you feel
we-
like you have to speak for them? Not speak for them, but
Oh,
like kind of defend them and shit because
girl,
they
all the
won't do it for
time.
themselves.
Oh, all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like right now. My dad got in a car accident. It wasn't even. This wasn't his fault, but I'm the one that has to be in contact with the guy, and I'm just like, talk, like tell them this, or and he's just like, oh, okay. One thing that drives me crazy about my dad is that he'll have like a letter, and he won't even like open it himself and read it. He'll just bring it to me like, hey, can you tell me what this says? And I'm like, you know English, like read it. Like, why are you putting like this? Not even pressure, but it's just
responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility, and it's just like, come on, like it's just something that you could handle. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah,
and yeah, so, and with my mom, same thing. Maybe because I'm a little more aggressive, she feels that people listen to me more, or if it comes down to like having to not fight about something, but like, I don't know, let's just say a return at Costco or something, she'd rather she'd rather me go with her and me talk to the person and return it, because she feels that with her they'll like give her excuses or not do what she wants or whatever. So yeah, I'm definitely the I don't want to say responsible one, but the person in charge.
The one that wears the pants.
Yeah, no, and sometimes you need a break.
Are you close with your sister?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no. You know what's funny? We never got along, and I always thought it was the age, the difference. It's 5 years.
Okay.
So when she's 2, I was 7, and I was very, very careful. Like, one thing that I'll always remember is like my Barbies. Like when I was a little girl, I was a girly girl. When I was, I think, 8 or 9, 10, I would hang out with my boy cousin, because I lived in Van Nuys at that point, like I said, and he lived down the street. So I would hang out with him and his friends, and I'd ride bikes. So I feel like I became a little bit more of a tomboy. But when I was like a little girl, I was definitely very like Barbies, and I had Barbie stands, and I used to brush their hair.
Shit.
And
you
the
had
night
them in pristine condition.
Oh yeah, like I had them there like trophies. And my sister's 2, and she's trying to destroy stuff and step on my Barbies and throw them, and I just feel like we could never play. And then when I was 10, she was 5, she was annoying, and then when I was 15, she was 10, she's still annoying, and I just never found that like place where we could match up. And then the thing is, she left the house when she was like 22, and she never came back to the house. And actually me or my mom didn't speak to her for like about 11 years. And she has ADHD. So yeah, she was also she had ADHD. I don't think it should, I don't know what it's like to have ADHD, but I don't think it shouldn't have been that difficult to have to, honestly, I don't know how her brain works. But I know she was always changing her numbers. I don't know if she was like a little bipolar on top of that. I don't know. But I do remember she had her highs and her lows. And one of the last times we talked, I almost whooped her ass. But that's because she was being very disrespectful with my mom. And towards the end, she got to the point where she was very disrespectful. She wasn't doing anything. Her and my niece is like a year and a half younger than her. They would just sit around the house and just, get high. And my sister's excuse for not getting a job was, oh, I'm retarded. No one's going to hire me. So she wouldn't do anything. She would just like lay around the house.
Not even try.
Not even try. Yeah. And so she was the type of people to go like Venice Beach and do the drum circles.
I've been there. Those are fun. And listen, I get it because like I also have ADHD, but I kind of see it more as a neurodivergent brain because it's no like one cookie cutter. There's no like one frame of it. Like everything is different and everyone reacts to it differently. And
well, see, that's why I think like it didn't have to be that difficult. Like,
and it might have been something that serious because I've met some people who have these manic episodes and aren't even like can't control themselves, but can kind of see it from almost like the outside looking in and being like, fuck, why am I like this? And then that's kind of where the depression is because they're like, fuck, I like, and once I accepted that my brain does work differently, it kind of separated the guilt because it's like, oh, okay, I'm not going to tell myself I'm a piece of shit because I can't see, I'm just going to get glasses and be like, all right, work around it.
Yeah.
And
work with what you have.
Yeah. But that sucks. So that you guys haven't 11 years.
Had been so recently, just last year, she started coming around. So I've only seen her 2 times within the past, I don't know, probably more now, 12, 13 years, something like that. And then my mom just last year started coming around my mom. She's very immature on her end. She was mad because my niece like kind of put her against my mom and she's easily influenced and like again, I don't understand what's going on in her brain. I think a lot of things are common sense or got a problem with something, like solve it or figure it out. We're family, talk about it, but I don't know, her way of dealing with things is just walking away from things. And I think that's why we would butt heads a lot because I'm not like, oh, I'm confrontational. I mean, for the most part, I feel like I am. And it's not that like, oh, I like to go up to people and like, punk them or bully them or nothing. Yeah. No, it's not even that. It's just if there's something funny in the air, like, okay, let's fix it. Like, what's up with that? Or what's going on? Or why you being like that or whatever. And yeah, like I would just call her out on a lot of stuff and she didn't like it and we just never got along. But yeah. And then my older sister, she passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. She was handicapped, living with us for the past 9 years. So around the same time, my little sister and my niece left the house. They were supposed to move in with my older sister, who was 15 years older than me and 20 years older than my younger sister. And she had a brain tumor. And so because of the spot in the back of her brain where the tumor was, they removed about 75% of it, but they had to leave like 25% or something. Yeah, because it was getting too deep into where your like nerves for your central whatever movement. I don't know. So and then she got a stroke like a few days after the surgery. So quedó mal. It was really tough because we never got along with her. She was not a good person. She was not to like, come here and, exactly. But it was just, I think it was tough because we just never had a good relationship with her, even though we tried. She was just not a good, genuine person. So having her at the house was like really tough because at first I did not want her there. But yeah, that's an interesting story. So,
well, I mean, you said she was 15 years older than you. So she was the first child. Your parents must have been so young, and who knows how her upbringing was to probably make her into that?
No, it's complete shit. I mean, I could tell you. We got time. I can tell you.
Hey, you say what you want to say.
All right. So she was my half sister. So my mom had her in El Salvador when she was 17. And my older sister's dad and my mom were like boyfriend and girlfriend from like the group of friends from like your teenage years. And so my mom had her dad's name is Ricardo. Ricardo's family never liked my mom just because they had a little bit more than my mom did. And so from my mom would tell me, they would like se la quitaban. They would take her away from her, and so my mom would probably go like a couple days without seeing her, and then she'll somehow bump into them. And
Oh my God.
yeah, I know it was really weird. And this lady, finally, after so many problems with her, my mom decided to come to the States.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, if you love taking care of her so much, then, take care of her for me until like I get her, some paperwork, and I'll come back and get her. And they said, okay. So she was raised by her grandma and her grandparents on the dad's side of the family, with a couple of aunts. And they were definitely not the best of people. I know one of the aunts, she was a freaking puta. Like literally. And no offense to putas out there, but
Shout out putas.
right? Shout out to the putas. And the grandma, I know they used to like play with like witchcraft and stuff that wasn't good. Like the grandma used to read like cigar smoke.
Oh.
Yeah. And yeah, they're just not good people.
Just bad vibes all around.
Bad vibes, yeah. And my mom would tell me that she would send her stuff to my sister, and they wouldn't give it to her.
Ugh.
So, and all they would do is talk shit about my mom to my sister. So when my sister was 11, my mom finally got her paperwork settled, and she came and went and got her. And now they're living in Arleta. And my sister starts going to, I think, Pacoima Middle School, because back then it was like less schools. And yeah, so she ends up like hanging out with people from Pacoima, like the gang. And at 15, my mom sends her with her dad to New York, because her dad, Ricardo, has family in New York. So he went that way. And so also just like a quick little story. So my parents actually met in New York. Yeah. So when my mom came to Los Angeles, she bumped into my tío Guillermo, which he passed away a few years ago. He's not actually my uncle. He's one of the friends from the group of friends. So he also knows Ricardo. And he basically convinced my mom to try to work things out with Ricardo. So that's why my mom moves to New York and meets and tries to have a relationship with Ricardo. He's like not it. And my mom's like, forget about it. And my mom's single. She's, going out and partying, and she meets my dad. And then my tia's going to come from El Salvador. My mom comes back to LA, and my dad follows her. Oh. So yeah, that's how my parents met. But yeah, so she was 15. My mom sent it to New York, and then she comes back at 18, and she just never had a good relationship with my mom. And she always had, we could tell she had this like hate or like resentment against my mom. And it's interesting because she's not the only person that I've heard that has resentment towards their moms or parents that like were left, not even saying left behind sounds bad, because that's not really the case, because
but that's what they felt.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, they, and I can imagine, being a kid and not having your mom, or being raised, your mom is like in another country and she calls you, but you don't have your mom. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure that affects you as a person. But the fact that you can't let it go, even into like her adult years. So up until the day of the surgery, her surgery, now she basically fainted. Her head is like hurting so bad. Goes to the hospital. She never leaves from there until she has a surgery, because the doctor's like, well, like your tumor is really big and blah, 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 blah. And not until that day, up until the day before surgery, did her and my mom have a conversation that should have taken place like so many years ago. But even though they had that conversation, we can tell, because again, we had her the last 9 years of her lives because she had nowhere else to go. Yeah. You can tell she still had something against my mom.
Oh, of course. That shit takes like years of therapy and conversation to like work through that.
Yeah. But you know what though? My whole thing is, so when she got here and she saw that, and my mom was with my dad at the time, and my mom, again, my parents are very nice people. My mom's nice. She's being nice to her. She's trying to like rekindle this relationship, trying to make something of it. She's just being rebellious. She's kicking it with gangsters. how do you like? At what point are you gonna let go of the hate? Like why? Like why?
Yeah.
But why does she hate my mom? Like why
Mhm.
would you hate your mom? It's not like she put her in a bad situation on purpose, you know? And
Yeah.
my mom didn't know the stuff that she went through in El Salvador until like later that she told her. But it still wasn't like sexual abuse or anything like that. It was just like I guess lack of love.
Yeah.
So but I know that can take a toll on people.
It does. It really does. Just feeling that neglect. And then all you can really do is like build up these stories in your head so that you can kind of process the
Mhm.
pain and the hurt that you're feeling from all of that. So it's like, fuck. That's really sad. That's it really
It
sucks.
is. It is. But I just think it's also just like the negativity that she grew up around that also made her like a
Mm,
resentful, grudgeful person.
yeah.
Yeah, and she also wasn't the best mom either, my poor niece. But my niece did go through some stuff because she did not really care about her. And that's, I guess, the only way I can put it or see it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's that generational trauma
yeah.
that just kind of
Mm-hmm.
goes down the line.
Yep.
So since you're kind of like seeing it, is that why you feel like, no, we got to talk about shit because we're not going to let anything linger and turn into something bad? Like, if there's a bad.
It's just part of who I am to like solve a problem. I've always saw her as an example of like what it shouldn't be. It's just not in my heart to be like that either. But I just like clarity.
Mm.
I like clarity. I like peace, and I feel that as long as like we're on the same page, then it should be peaceful.
Yeah.
You know, it's when people start feeling certain ways and don't say anything, and then it gets worse, and then
And
things
you
start to
feel
pile
it.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, why not bring it up?
Yeah.
And, well, on you,
Mm-hmm.
what are you passionate about?
First and foremost, who I am is I am a Christian and a servant of the Lord.
Ooh.
I gave my life to Christ back in 2010. I was in a legal situation that kind of forced me to look up to God and ask Him for help.
Mm.
And that year, He just took the blindfold off my eyes, and I saw who my friends were, and they were not my friends. And He started to just kind of clean up my life, and I've been walking with Him ever since. I don't usually like, and it's not that I'm ashamed of the gospel, because I'm not. I have that verse on my car because I'm not ashamed. But I know because of what I do, people are like, you pour beer, you drink. And I'm just like, okay, I'm having a beer. Like, what sin am I committing? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm careful with who I share that with, not because I don't want people to know that I love God, but it's just people are quick to judge or assume or whatever.
Yeah, they start like framing you and viewing
Yeah,
you as this thing.
exactly. Yeah. So if it's someone who I feel is mature enough and smart enough to have that conversation with, then yeah. Yeah, it's who I am. And so I'm involved with prison ministry. And just recently I started getting involved with this ministry called Kairos. And they go to prisons and they minister to prisoners that have been there for, either 20, 30 years, or recently people have to sign up for it. And I just had my first retreat February last month. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to go again and do kind of like a follow-up with the group and the girls, the women. And it's very fulfilling. I feel that, no, I don't feel, I know. God put that calling in my heart because, well, one, it started off with my cousin. My cousin did a couple prison bids 2 different times for many years each. So I got in the habit of writing to him, his cellmates. But then I almost, going back to that legal situation I mentioned earlier, I almost went there. So that me going to county and I saw how dark it was and the lack of Christ that is in such a dark place, it just put it like it ignited a fire in me to minister to people. Because if a lot of people I don't know if you've ever been to county or not, but
Only from the outside.
good. Keep it that way. Yeah, it's if you got things to do, it's not for you. So it's just it's very interesting how people in jail, because you're disconnected from your habit, from everything, the people you love, the people that are that you're partying with, people that are distracting you from doing what's right. Everything, you're just sitting there and you're just contemplating, and it really is a place of penitence because you're thinking about all the things you could have done differently, or if you wouldn't have done this, you wouldn't be in that situation. Damn. Or your baby daddy or whatever. I mean, I don't have a baby daddy, but the people do. But just you just started thinking about like your mistakes and how you could have done things different, and it's really amazing. And again, I am saying this because I was there, but most people know God or have had a moment in their lives where they had a connection with God, and because they decided to live a life away from God, they fell into trouble. And so that's what I saw when I was there, and I was one of those people because I grew up in a Christian church and in a Christian home, and Pentecostal. And
what's that?
So 40 days after, I'm going to go a little biblical. So 40 days after Jesus resurrected, Peter goes to like a house where the disciples and other people are reunited and they're praying. And that was basically the first time that they felt or had they felt the Holy Spirit. And that's when they started speaking in tongues. Mm-hmm. So someone who's Pentecostal believes in the movement of the Holy Spirit.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
So yeah, I don't know how to speak in tongues. I was baptized with it once, and I just mumbled a few words, but that was it. And I honestly have not asked for more. That's my bad. But yeah, I grew up in a church where they would speak in tongues. And the ladies would wear like long dresses, and women on this side, men on that side. They would wear veils. Very old school. And the church I go to now is complete opposite. Which is the nice thing about it is they don't look at people funny for like walking into church dressed like you're going to a club or something, which you shouldn't do because we have to accept people for who they are and how they're coming, no matter what their condition is. But yeah, sometimes I'm just like, okay, did she just come from the club or something? Like, girl, you couldn't find a longer skirt? Like, come on. Tap on the G's, have some respect. But I think that's the part of me that like, I grew up in a very conservative church where even me to this day, like when I go to church, I wear like long dresses or like skirts. Because it's a habit, but I also don't feel like I should wear white pants with a red G-string and then everybody could see it. It's on me like to be conservative. But yeah, I grew up in a church like that. And then when I was 14, I started partying. Funny story, I started partying with my church friends.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, man, tell me about it. And I mean, the church was also in Van Nuys, and my buddy, which I haven't talked to in about a year, but he was my road dog for like a long time. And yeah, he's a person that I did most of my drugs with, like for the first time ever. I started drinking with, and I was I look back now and I'm just like, dude, I don't know how my mom let me get away with like being how I was, because it was like 12:30 and the homie would call me and he'll be like, hey, come kick it. I'm like, okay. I'll put my shoes on and my mom would be like, ¿A dónde vas? Or it'll be like 11:30. I'm like, I'll be back. That's it. And I would just leave. And I'll come back like 3:30 in the morning with my eyes bloodshot red. No, my kids are not doing that. Hell no.
I know all the tricks. Y'all can't fool me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and no, so I was partying and doing stuff, and I walked away from God, and then I mean I wasn't like the worst person out there. I was just mostly like partying. I used to party a lot, and I was in an accident that was not my fault, but it changed my life because of all the things that were like being thrown against me.
Mhm.
And that's when God opened my eyes. And I was like, you know what? Everything out there is trash. Like, I stopped smoking weed. Marijuana is my thing.
Mm.
Alcohol was never my thing. It was marijuana.
Yeah.
And I stopped. Yeah. Yeah. And I just started looking at people more for their values and their morals more than do we smoke the same thing? You know, because that's what it was for me. If you didn't smoke weed, like, I have no business talking to you.
How are we gonna relate?
Exactly. Like, we have nothing in common. Because marijuana was like, it was my life. It was like the center of my life. And it's crazy because I look back and I think it was like solid 11 years of me being a pothead. And I'm just like, you know, I only remember bits and pieces of that time in my life, you know? But honestly, it's very freeing to not have that habit. I never like to call it addiction because even when I did used to do it, my mom would be like, "Ay, Denise, ¿cuándo vas a parar de fumar?" And I'd be like, "Man, like, ¿para qué? Like, I'm not hurting nobody, you know, and I could stop whenever I want." So in my mind, I was like, "Oh, I'm not addicted because I could stop. I just don't want to." And I look back now, my opinion is I still don't think I was addicted to marijuana. I think I was addicted to the lifestyle. So all that changed. I stopped smoking weed. My lifestyle changed, and is better now. I love my life. I would not change it. Yeah. I think for anyone who used to live in the world and now lives a life in Christ, no one is going to tell you, "Oh yeah, my worldly life was better." No, because then you would just go back and do it. But if we find it worth to fight the good fight and, you know, hold our ground, and I have temptations all the time, you know, and I'm not perfect. I'm not Christian because I'm perfect. I am so not perfect. And I think I don't pretend to be. And I think that's why I'm okay with.
That's good, because I feel like a lot of people start to punish themselves because they're like, "Fuck, I'm not like being this perfect image of myself." And then that's
and you know the thing. So in regards to that, I think a big part of that with me is I don't care what people think about me. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, you do not pay my bills. Like, I don't care what you think of me. Like, if you don't like me, better. That's one less person that I have to worry about pleasing, you know?
Yeah.
Now, if you don't like me for something that I did, then that's my bad, because I also don't want to go around doing things to people. So, like, if I offend you, if you don't like me because I said something that offended you, first and foremost, I'm going to want to apologize to you because I don't want to offend you. It's not like, you know, my opinion is my opinion, or I shouldn't have said it that way, or I shouldn't have said it at all, or whatever, you know, but that's part of like me wanting to clarify things and keeping the peace and having peace. But like, you know, someone's like, "Oh, she's a hoe," and I know it's not true because I know I'm abstinent, then I don't care if you think I'm a hoe, because it's not the truth. And whoever said that is a hater and they could kiss my ass. Yeah, but if it's something, problems. But if it is something that's true and it does bother me, then I have to change that about me. So that's just how I see things. Like, I don't care what you think, but if it's true and the truth bothers me, then I got to fix that.
Yeah. And there's something that's like triggered inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with the views that you have, and like, I'm sure you encounter a lot of different personalities at your job, like people's highs, people's lows. They're there celebrating, or they're there to like take some pain away. Like, do you ever like try to offer any help or soothing, or like what kind of like beer tender? Nope. What's the word we talked? Yeah, beer tender personality do you like have? And does it differ from your personal life?
No, who you see is that's just who I am. Yeah, correct. I will always be genuine. I don't like I don't like faking to be something I'm not. What I can tell you is sometimes I'll be more tolerant because I don't want to be rude or mean. There's a lot of different people or characters that go to my job, and they're there for either the same reason or different reasons. one example that a lot of people have in common is they try to holler at me. And all right, whether they're lonely or horny or desperate or they don't have game or they don't go out and socialize, they only go there and they only socialize there. It's different for the dynamic with me because let's say there's a guy and there's like 10 girls. And if he goes up to each girl and the girl's like, ew, no, I have a boyfriend or I don't want to talk to you, then that's it. He gets shut down and that's it. But with me, I'm not going to be like, ew, stop talking to me. Like, I got to pour you your beer, you know? And the thing is, I don't want to be that way. And honestly, I'm not that way. When someone asked me, okay, so like a week ago, I went to Yard House by myself because of my job and my mom and my parents and just the responsibility of, and then, you know, at me functioning at church, sometimes I just want quiet time and I will take my jolly ass to Yard House and I will order the chicken nachos, the vegan chicken nachos, and because I'm vegan too. And I just want, alone time. This guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, you're so beautiful. Can I have your, he's like, what do you say? He's like, oh, can I have your number? And it's okay if you want to put in a fake number. I just don't want to look stupid in front of my friends. And I was like, okay, look, I'm not going to make you look stupid in front of your friends. So I'll give you my number. But that doesn't, in my head, it's like, doesn't mean, and I'm sure he figures too, it doesn't mean that we're going to talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could have given him a fake number or it could have just been like, no, I'm not interested. But he's nice, and the way he came at me, I was like, all right, fine, I'll be nice. I'll give it to you. But then he just ended up being kind of like weird. But not that I didn't expect him to not be weird. I expect most people to be weird in the first place. Yeah. I start off with, okay, everyone's probably weird. And as I realize that you're not as weird as I thought you were, then like I start dropping the expectation of like how weird I thought you were. Just works better for me that way. Because I would think the best of people at some point, and then it would just disappointing. Exactly. So, but I don't think this way, like in a judgmental way. You never know how people are until you get to know them, anyway. And I never judge a book by its cover. So yeah, no, but working there, I've made friends, and anyone who follows me on Instagram, they know what I do or my beliefs and why I do it. And, people can either be mad at me because I didn't let them tap it or whatever. And
they want to be bitter. Hey,
exactly.
Stay bitter.
Exactly. And then there's people that have gotten to know me and they see that I'm someone that they can talk to, because anyone can talk to me. And I've always felt that people feel that about me. Even when I used to sell mattresses, I used to work at Living Spaces, worst job ever. Never apply there. Never apply there. That place is horrible.
It's a public service announcement.
Yes. Don't work there. It would trip me out how, and sometimes people wouldn't even buy anything. They'll go in there, ask me about a mattress, and I'll like tell them a little bit about the mattress, and then somehow we'll start talking about like something in their lives, and I'll say something. I was going to church at this point, so I'd always like throw God in the mix, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, thank you so much for that," and they'll give me a hug and like not buy anything, and that's fine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's fine. It's more important for me to know that I made someone's day better. I helped them than to sell them a mattress. I mean, if you need a mattress, of course, I want to get you the right mattress. But it's it's the mattress. So
yeah. Well, I mean, shit. I think I told you that night too that I was intimidated by you. I've been intimidated by you, and you know what? Rightfully so. Because now that I'm experiencing you sober, it's like, yeah, you have this just like strong energy, and well, I'm obsessed with you now. Because I fucking love you. But yeah, and I don't know. So I and especially for this month, because like I wanted to do women only for like Women's History Month, and like you being kind of one of the only one of two women that work there.
No, I'm the only one.
Oh, you're the only one? Yeah. Oh shit.
There was another one, but she's gone.
And you're like, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
How would you describe being a female beer tender? And like one word.
Great.
Yeah?
It was great. I mean, honestly, I've always felt remember I mentioned earlier I was kind of a tomboy
Mm.
because of my cousin. So ever since then, I kind of just grew more into appreciating being around guys. I mean, men are men, so there's always going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
But I get along very well with men, and not that I don't get along with women. It just depends on the woman.
I find it harder. I really do.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Because it's always beefy or competitive, or there's some sort of jealousy or
Right.
something. It's like, bitch, chill.
like why can't we all just relax?
Seriously, yeah.
Like like whatever image you're either trying to hold up or something, it's like there's
Yeah.
no it's not like it's safe.
Yeah.
Like
No,
we
no,
don't have to
totally.
have our guards
Yeah.
up or anything.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think it might even be like that, like with men amongst men too. But I know as a female, I rather be around men.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's great. I love being the only girl. And when I found out that we were getting a girl bartender, I was like, oh man, Lord, please let her be decent. And this is not God's fault that she was or wasn't, but especially in this line of work, I did todo. And I also worked at a kitchen, and no offense to people that work in kitchens, but what I noticed is that a lot of people that don't have like social skills, or people that don't want to deal with people, they like to work in kitchens because not that like, oh, they're hiding out in the kitchen, but they just don't have to deal with the public, or they don't have the character for it or the personality for it.
Mm-hmm.
Or something's wrong with you, or I mean, I just, if I think back to the kitchen I used to work at, there's this one person and he was fucking retarded. And I'm like, no wonder, for him, just for him, not for anybody else, but for him specifically, I was like, no wonder this fool works here, because he doesn't have to use his common sense around other people, and it's just
I hear you.
And again, just no offense to anyone that works in kitchens, just that one person or some people. Yeah, exactly. So
good.
So yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So
and I wanted to mention something to you too.
Yeah.
I'm not good with names, but the reason that I've always remembered your name, and this last time that we interacted was not the first time.
Oh fuck.
Or at least, okay, well, if you don't remember, I do, and this is why. So, and you're not her, obviously, because I'm way older than you, but I went to school with this girl. Her name was Ruth, and she kind of looks like you. So that's why I've always, since the first day you gave me your card, and I saw your name was Ruth, I could never forget that you're Ruth. So the times that you have walked in there, I'm like, oh, it's Ruth. And I'm horrible with names.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and these cheeks, the hair, like it's hard to forget, honestly.
And you look like a Ruth too.
Honestly, I feel like I do. Can you believe my dad was gonna name me Esther, but then at the last minute they decided to switch names?
Is your dad a believer?
No,
because both. Okay,
yeah, they're both in the
biblical
Bible.
Names. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I know,
and they're both very. Do you know the story of Ruth?
I think so. I think like her husband died, and then she ended up going on like a journey or something.
So she was married to this guy, and she lived with her husband and his mother, so her mother-in-law. And then there was a war, and her husband died, her father-in-law died, and her brother-in-laws also died. So now it was just Ruth and her mother-in-law. That's it.
Oh,
and Ruth was not from that land. So her mother-in-law told her, go back to your family. Like, there's nothing else for you here. I'm just going to wither away or whatever. And Ruth, being the solid person that she was, she's like, nah, I'm not leaving you. And she never left her. And they ended up going away somewhere. I don't think like that far. I think still like within that area. And she was working at I'm going to say farm. And the owner of the farm was a very rich man. Like back then, if you owned a farm or animals, like that's like you were a baller.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up falling in love with Ruth. And the mother-in-law was always by her side. And when Ruth had a baby, she would like take care of the baby, and it was like a good solid story of a solid person.
Of like, no matter what happens,
I'm
like
here for
be
you.
there
Yeah,
for people.
Exactly.
And you know what? That is me.
There you go. See,
like,
you were meant to be a Ruth.
I think
not
so.
an Esther.
I don't even know her story either. But yeah, that checks out, man. Because so many people, like in my life and through childhood and even adulthood, and I'm sure I'm going to experience more things in the future where they just like don't do the best things or treat me
well, people
right.
are going to fail us. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I have to understand as a Christian, and this is why we have to be, as Christians, we have to be forgiving, because we're going to fail each other. And I've failed people myself. So we have to learn how to forgive each other and how to be understanding and how to see like where people are coming from and then where they stand. And it's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
It could be messy, but
that.
at the end of the day, you just have to forgive.
Yeah. Just forgive and move on. And be
Mhm.
understanding.
Yeah.
Because we're not perfect. We're just humans.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to try to go through this like bonus round of questions.
All right.
Do
And I love cats too, just throwing it out there.
you have any?
I have 7.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I foster, so.
Oh, fuck.
Mhm.
How do you do that?
I don't know. It's a lot of fun.
Any dogs? No, not with 7 cats.
No, I do. I actually have 4 dogs, and I have a puppy, and she's going to puppy school
my
currently.
God.
She's very cute. I did not want her at first. My little sister, one of those things that, when she was coming around last year, she gave my mom this puppy, and I'm just like, why the hell is there a puppy in the house? Because we're cat people. Me and my mom are cat people. But she's grown on us. We want to choke her sometimes, but we won't. We love her. We wouldn't hurt her. But yeah, she drives us crazy. But
Oh
puppies,
God.
what are you gonna do?
Oh, but that must be stressful for like 4 dogs, 7 cats. But I'm trying to even just put my head around it.
It doesn't seem like, for me, it doesn't seem like a lot. It looks like a lot when it's like either breakfast time or like dinner time and they're all huddled up. I'm like, whoa,
You're like,
this is too many animals.
Do you ever get overwhelmed? I feel like you handle stress very well.
I do handle it very well. I do get overwhelmed, and that's when I tell you I break away to Yard House and I order my chicken nachos. But then I just come back to handle. I handle stuff. That's the thing. Like I handle things. If I didn't handle things, they would pile up. Things wouldn't be getting done. It's worse for me if I don't get things done. I take care of what I have to take care of. So.
Yeah, there's no thought, just boom.
Yeah, you have to. And I like working. I enjoy working. I'm a hustler. I'll do whatever for money. I mean, not like whatever. Not OnlyFans or anything, but decent work.
Yeah.
And I've always been that way. I've babysat. I was a horticulturist for 11 years. Got heat stroke, and then I decided to take a break from that because I was outside for 11 years. And that's how I ended up at stupid ass living spaces for way too long.
I want to go inside now.
Yeah, we ended up buying a cabin in Big Bear. We needed furniture. And so that's how we ended up at living spaces. We're looking for a couch. And then I'm like, man, these people are lucky. They have AC. They have a heater when it's cold. And I applied and they hired me, of course, because they hire anybody. And then COVID happened. I got stuck there. Yeah, man. Dark time in my
I feel
life.
like that wasn't that long ago then.
No, not too long. I've only been beer tending I did the math yesterday, and it was 3 years.
Oh, shit. Okay, and you said you started at McLeod's.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Right, because they're the only brewery in Denice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Besides Budweiser, but,
True. Fair.
But yeah.
Huge factory. And what was that like?
McLeod was, it was fun. At the same time, it was a mess. Management. I'm going to say management. Parentheses. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I have great memories there. I felt like we were unsupervised for the most part, like at the bar, which gave us a lot of freedom to either do good or bad. And then each person did whatever they wanted. And then there was a lot of picking and choosing too. And I'm not an ass kisser, and I would not kiss the owner's son's ass. So the second time that they had to shut down, I felt like an outcast. And that sucked because I was a good employee and I felt underappreciated. But it's one of those things where if you're kissing his ass, you're getting hours. If you're kissing his ass, if you're partying with them, if you're like in that group of people, then you'll be good. And if you're not, you're on the outside. And I was like, I think the only outsider because everybody else was like in that group. But yeah, that's why I did not mention to you earlier, I had not worn any McLeod shirts until they announced their third close down. And I think they really are going out of business now. So now this is why I'm wearing their shirts because I didn't want it to be like I was advertising for them because I don't want to say I'm mad. I'm going to say I'm disappointed in them, but my opinion doesn't matter to them. But that's just my point of view from me working there.
Yeah.
It could have been better. But
Did it kind of like hurt that you had to like walk away?
Okay, so I'll tell you this. It did because that was all I knew as far as like beer tending. And I knew everything about like working that bar, that little strip, that bar. I knew everything. I mean, I didn't know like behind the fridge and the connections and stuff like that. But as far as running it, like there's times where I was on myself for hours and I had that all by myself. It felt good because finally when management said, hey, we're going to find a way to stay open for longer and more shifts will be coming up. I had already talked to Tom about hiring me. So the same person that was making me feel like a piece of shit, finally, when he realized that he could use me or need me or he wanted to use me, that's when I was like, I'm out of here. So that felt kind of good, walking away from them when they needed me. I may or may not be a little spiteful.
That is so funny.
But, you know, the first day of Tom walking me around the brewery, I felt like a kid at a new school. And, you know, the students are nice, the teacher is nice, it's a nice school, but it's not your school. It's not what you know. It's not your old peers. It's not your old teachers, you know, and not so much that I was crazy about the people that I used to work with at this place. When I first started working there, it was a solid group of people. And I think that's the group of beer tenders that are in patrons, like core memories of the place. And then once I had the shutdown, a lot of people left. And then they hired or they brought in more people. And I call those the shitheads. And there's like 2 people that I liked from that group. And then that was it. I left. They had another shutdown. And then I came over here and it felt weird. It felt so weird. It's like you have your first love and you're used to that person. You know everything about that person. And then you guys break up because, you know, naturally stop working out. But then your next relationship, you can't help but to like feel weird or to miss or you compare and contrast like the differences. Yeah. But it's better. It's better for you. But you still feel weird because it's not what you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt. And the places are they're very different. They're similar but different because the way they're ran, the companies are ran so differently.
What's something that you love generally from being a beer tender that made you like want to seek it elsewhere? Well, I don't know if you seeked it, but like
I did. I totally did. Yeah.
What did you fall in love with?
So I appreciate beer. That's first and foremost. I just want to say that. But I don't really like tend to drink on the job or like I'm not like an alcoholic, you know, I'll drink socially. But I'm going to say customers. I like customer service. My thing with customer service is dealing with angry people, annoyed people, like with, going back to living spaces just real quick. It was a lot of pissy customers. The vibe was not always good. And in beer tending, people usually, I'm not going to say every person is, a gift, but for the most part, people go to brewery because they're chilling, they're with their friends, they're in a good mood, or they're trying to have fun. So for the most part, it's a good vibe. And that's what I like, because I pick up on good vibes. Yeah, when the vibe's weird, I get really like anxious and weird, and I get suspicious about things.
Like, what's your deal?
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you, you should ask my coworkers like how I am when I see something that's like fishy. I'm just like, I don't know about that guy. They're like, calm down.
And then boom, you end up being right down the line.
Yep.
Oh, dude. Well, damn it. I wish we had more time. But I am so happy that you came.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have you back again if you're down.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah. Especially cheers. Especially during the day, I got time. So before work.
All right, friends. I love you. And
I love you too.